Unruly have been going since 2006. We own a bit of technology called the viral video chart, and the viral video chart essentially scrapes the web all day, every day, and every time it finds a piece of video, it digitally fingerprints that video and passes back the sharing data about that video back to Unruly. So in essence, we have a database of 360 billion video streams worth of data about who's been sharing content and on what different kinds of platforms they've been sharing it on. So whether it's user-generated content or whether it's branded content, we've kind of had eyes and ears on it since YouTube was a boy, essentially. So this is an incredibly rich database that no one else has. It takes data from Twitter, from Facebook, scrapes blogs, anywhere on the public web where a piece of video is uploaded, we kind of know who's been sharing it, on what platform they've been sharing it on, and what they've been saying about it. We've been using this data traditionally as a kind in a chart form, which is showing the top of the pops for virals, but more recently we've been using it from a benchmarking point of view. So agencies and advertisers can start to see their performance versus their competitors in terms of how they're doing on social interactions that stem from video. Our distribution product that we have, which is our kind of video distribution product, has been born out of this data, and so we kind of have been able to start creating some really rich data segments around the types of users who are sharing different types of branded content. And because this data is quite unique and there's so much of it going back so far, this presents a really good opportunity in the programmatic video landscape, because instead of being able to distribute video content and kind of hope that people will share and talk about the video, we can actually start to be able to zone in and target specific sets of individuals who've already shown interest in your particular videos because they've already been sharing it and talking about it. So that for us is a really powerful addition to the programmatic landscape, because at the moment we feel that the programmatic landscape from a video perspective is very obsessed with who and what. So who do we want to target? Why do we want to target them? What have they done? So it's psychographic and demographic data and behavioural data essentially. But actually what it's not looking at, which we think is going to be incredibly rich, is why. So once you can start to understand why somebody has watched one of your videos or interacted in a certain way with your content, then you can start to create some even cleverer segments, and then you can start to fuse in stuff like time of day targeting. So the way that I feel when I'm on my way into work and the kinds of content that resonates with me is very different to the way that I feel when I'm at my desk, is very different to the way that I feel when I'm out at lunchtime, and then very different to the way that I feel when I'm at home in the evening in my leisure time consuming media from either tablet devices or desktop or the TV. So I think the evolution in programmatic that Unruly kind of sees is where you start to look beyond who and what and when, and you start to look at why. So that for us will allow you to be able to do some more micro segmentation targeting, and as the guys have alluded to earlier, I think the idea of starting to tweak creatives to different types of segments and different types of individual groups, rather than a one-size-fits-all. We have this TV asset, we want to get scale on this TV asset, we know this is the audience we want to reach, we're just going to put that asset out using programmatic. That's a kind of one-size-fits-all approach. And what we think is that if advertisers can start to make maybe 2 or 3 different treatments of a piece of content, each one which may evoke a different emotional response to that piece of content, then there's massive upsides to be had, because you're actually treating people more based upon what they react well to and the emotions that they respond well to and the emotional stimuli that stimulates them, rather than just kind of saying, here's the same ad to everybody and let's just hope. It's like throwing a paint at the wall and hoping some of it sticks. So I think Unruly's approach to the programmatic landscape will be about using this kind of rich data stack that we've created and applying that into the programmatic world, and allowing people like Xaxis, people like Videology, people who've big programmatic video vendors to be able to harness the power of that data and be able to create a richer, more tailored experience for users and for advertisers. Over the past 12 months, or since July 2012, we've been undertaking a really, really rigorous content testing program, looking at testing content across all different categories. So we've tested over 2,000 pieces of branded content since we launched. And by testing, what I mean is that we are using consumers to be able to rank and grade the quality of content based upon the emotions they feel. So we've created a framework for being able to evaluate the quality of content based upon the kinds of emotional triggers that resonate with different segments and different audience groups. So we now know, for example, that automotive advertising, whether they know it or not, tend to revolve around the same kind of emotional stimuli in their audio-visual assets. So, for example, most automotive ads tend to evoke feelings of exhilaration, or they tend to go for sexy or cool. So they're three. If you look at the consumer tech industry, you see that consumer tech ads, gadget ads, tend to go for exhilaration, knowledge, and awe as three emotional triggers. So we've built up a huge amount of data points around the kinds of emotional triggers that are resonating with different audiences in different territories. So we've built up a big bank of data about US audiences, UK audiences, German audiences. We just launched one in Brazil, and so we can now begin to work with advertisers and tell them, and agencies, the kinds of content that is starting to stimulate their audience based upon this consumer feedback that we have. If you can then start to map that into the programmatic landscape, that gives it a whole new dimension, because what you're actually doing is starting to say, I want to target people who respond well to happy content. I want to target people who respond well to content that makes them feel exhilarated. And so suddenly, programmatic goes from being two-dimensional and it goes into being three-dimensional. And we think this kind of ability to be able to start spotting patterns and trends in the kinds of content that different groups may be attracted to is going to be really, really powerful, especially when advertisers get into more kind of real-time content creation and delivery. So if advertisers start getting into using short-form videos like Vine and Insta videos to be able to respond to the things that the audiences are talking about, and themes that are bubbling up on the social web, or big things that are happening around the Super Bowl, and someone can react instantly, we think reacting instantly with short form, 15 or 6 seconds, is going to be the way forward, because brands can't actually make a big glossy 1.5 minute ad and get it out there within 2 days or a day in response to what's happening on the social web. So by creating short form, but also knowing the kinds of emotions that you want to stimulate in that short form, we think, again, pushing that into the programmatic environment will allow advertisers to have a really, really sophisticated approach where you have your linear 30-second TV spot, which goes out in TV. You know the kinds of people who've seen that and responded to it. You have your 60-second made-for-web version of that content, and then you create a load of ancillary short-form content that all kinds of has the same flavour, stimulates the same emotional response, and drives user engagement.